Pardon me. He wants the stone form upgrade, which is very useful. We've just got a fight starting. Not really. Grabs a direct kill and forces a town porter scroll, which is again part of this containment. He doesn't want Deadman to be able to build up the requisite amount of gold to actually be able to force an expansion by simply pumping over the 50 food limit, forcing him back for a moment, and then putting up that expansion. What Rain's definitely trying to do, as you can see, is marauding around the map, doing a little bit of creeping, but basically just ensuring that Deadman can't hit any of the big camps for fear of being creep-jacked, but also taking out the Ancient of War that was in the middle as a scout, trying to nab Dyads here or there, things to that effect. The aim is to contain the Night Elf and keep the army small. These constant small engagements don't allow Deadman to get up a very large army, and without that large army to fight off the undead, it's impossible for the Night Elf Deadman to establish map control. So if you look at Deadman's Rain's base now, he's basically still building up units, sending his lumber ghouls back to get more lumber, because unfortunately when you use the ghouls all the time to creep or to move around the map and harass, your lumber can be hurt. But what he's doing now is he's doing this wisp harass, and the reason you want to kill wood wisps is very simply Night Elf lore techs, whether they're going bears or Dyads, is very wood intensive, and taking out those wood wisps really does hurt the Night Elf, as it limits their options for not only the amount of units they can build, but also whether they can expand or whether they can build new buildings, things to that nature. Deadman, as you can see, is still just avoiding those fights. He does not want to get into a fight with his opponent until he's in a favourable position, or he can do a creepjack or something. It's just about to happen here. Now, the order of micro when fighting against a Dyrad archer army is basically you want to get your gargoyles to attack Dyads and your ghouls to attack archers, and Rain does this very well. He gets his ghouls right in there against the archers and the summons, and he just uses his gargoyles to pick off Dyads. And the reason you do that is basically to maximize your damage output by armor type. Gargoyles will do double damage with their piercing attacks against the unarmored Dyads, and ghouls get a 50% bonus damage against the medium armor archers. Both players basically traded about 12 supply and army there, so things were kept equal. But you'll notice that Deadman only had a 3-2 hero levels, whereas Rain has a level 4. Rain's going to now come into his opponent's base and basically again pick off more wisps. And as you can see, he throws a death coil, grabs one, he's going to kill some more with all that focus, gets level 5 on his hero. And as you can see, look in Deadman's base, he has no wisps left in that base. The only wisps he has are a handful of wisps, about 2 scattered around the map. That's how much of an advantage this harass is giving Rain, because if you look at Deadman's lumber, he's stuck at 159 lumber. That's not a whole lot, and he now has to rebuild all those wisps instead of building more units, which means that instead of being able to expand, he now has to rebuild wood wisps, which just slows him down and adds to that containment. You'll now notice that now that his heroes reach level 5, Rain does produce the Lich, his secondary hero. One very big advantage to soloing a hero like this is the bonus experience gained from having the tier 2 and tier 3 tech with a solo hero. It's 15% and 30% respectively to the relative tiers, which has allowed Rain to really power level that Death Knight. He's already level 5 against level, I believe, 3-3 now opponents, which is a considerable advantage. You'll notice the Lich gets the Orb of Corruption, which is very critical. It's, for those of you who don't know, it's a -5 armor orb effect, which basically reduces the effective HP of the focused opponent by about 30%. Rain's also produced a Shades Pit, which is a very useful creature to have at your disposal, as he allows you to scout, and he just allowed him to get a creep jack on his opponent, creeping out a red creep there, nabbing a Dyrad kill, an archer kill with a Nova, and forcing a town porter scroll, all of which adds up to about 600 and a bit gold. Again, it's all about containment, grabbing kills here or there, and just not allowing Deadman to play as he would like to play. We discussed at the start the Beastmaster and the Dark Ranger, the Tavern heroes, are very creeping focused builds, and Rain's done his very best not to allow his opponent to achieve that throughout the entire game, and that's resulted in a substantial hero level advantages for Rain. So Rain just coming in now again. focusing down on Diorads, grabs a Diorad, doesn't lose any units of his own, and retreats. This sort of thing is reasonably effective. You have to be careful doing it. You don't want to lose any units doing it, but killing a unit here or there does again just cripple that knight up a little bit more. One thing I did want to discuss is the choice of the Naga Sea Witch by Deadman II as opposed to the more common Panda and Brewmaster. The reason for that, in my opinion, is simply that the combination of stone form and the 2 readily available health fountains means that a breath of fire here or there really isn't going to worry Rain, because he's simply going to be able to heal up his army extremely quickly, whereas the additional focus fire and crippling effects of the Naga are perhaps more effective in the short, sharp battles which are going to take place on this map in crippling the undead army. Rain's doing more harassing, forces another TP, kills more wisps. Again, just not letting his opponent build up any sort of resource supply, not letting him creep, forcing him back to his base, nabbing units here or there. Very effective containment from Rain. We're now 14 minutes in and there's not been a single real battle. Rain's constantly just harassed his opponent and avoided actual confrontation. You'll notice also when Rain came in there, he was able to grab a Diorad and a bear that was in the base. That's called rally jacking, and it's very effective. Whenever you can pick units off like that, they're basically free kills and free experience, which is always really useful. You'll also notice now that Rain's banking at he's at just about 50 food. He's at 48 food, and he's not building any more units. If you look at his base at this point in time, he's about to put down a second slaughterhouse, and he's going to sit at 50 food. Thereabouts, and just bank gold. And he's going to get to 1500 resource in gold and then mass up an army to 80 food. The reason you want to bank at 50 food to 1500 food is simply so you're not incurring that upkeep penalty, so you get the most out of all of your gold available, which offsets not having a gold mine to some extent. The amount of gold you want to bank is directly proportional to the ease of your opponent putting up an expansion and the amount of initial gold in your starting gold mine. On Secret Valley, given the difficulty of expanding, the initial gold mines actually have more gold in them so that you don't need to bank so much. But on a map like Twisted Meadows, where you run out of gold within about 20 minutes, it's more important to perhaps expand at 50 food and then bank to say 3,000 gold, so that should the expansion go down, you're still economically viable. Rain doing more harass, just quickly there, grabbing some more unit kills, forcing his opponent to again stop what he was trying to do. And he's about to lose his shade to, unfortunately, that hawk which revealed it. But again, we're now about 16 minutes in, still no major fights. I just want to discuss quickly what sort of item choices you should be making with an undead army ready to fight against a mostly Diorad Archer mix with a handful of bears. Heal scrolls are not so important if your opponent goes Naga as opposed to a Panda and Brewmaster, but nonetheless, the general rule of 1 heal scroll per hero is generally a good guideline to stick to. Scrolls of Protection are quite effective because they largely discount the amount of damage Diorads are going to do to your gargoyles, which is again very good. If your opponent wants to abolish them, he can, but it's going to greatly reduce his army's DPS to achieve this, so either way it's a win-win situation. Other things worth including, obviously already discussed the Orb of Corruption on the Lich, but also Rods of Necromancy are very useful.